Hello pre-service teachers. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to write a formal teacher-made summative assessment. One of the first things that you need to do is to download the definition of assessments and the sample questions that I have put in this week's folder in Blackboard. The file is called Assessments and Evaluations, and it contains all of the definitions for the assessments that appear on the PPR. It also contains all of the samples of questions for this week's assignment. So download that from this week's folder, print it off, and you're going to use that to work on this week's assignment. The folder also contains a template for the assessment. It's called Writing a Summative Assessment Template, and it's going to be attached to the Dropbox. When you write your end of unit assessment, I want you to assume that you have completed the entire unit for the lesson plans you created this semester. I know that you've only done 3 lesson plans, but we're going to make the assumption that you've made lesson plans for the 4 to 6 weeks worth of lessons. I want you to use the same TEKS you used in your lessons, but you're quickly going to find that's not going to be enough TEKS to write an end of unit assessment, so you can add other TEKS that would be included in your unit. I do not need you to include all of the TEKS in that little box where it says copy and paste your TEKS here. Just a sampling of what you will do will work for me. You're going to write different types of questions to assess your students' knowledge, and we're not going to worry about our ELLs just yet. That's the next video. I want you to vary the Bloom's or depth of knowledge levels, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. This is a group assignment. It's going to be the same groups as your lesson plans, so I want you to share that template via office.com or Google Drive so that you can all work on this asynchronously. This assignment is going to get a little tiring. After about 5 questions, you're going to be like, oh, I'm out of things to ask. So I'm giving you the opportunity to pull from multiple sources to help create your questions. You can use exams that you've created for other courses, like if you're doing something for Secondary Methods 1. Take those questions and then modify them to fit the format that I'm asking you to do. You can find questions online. Again, you're going to want to modify them to fit the format that I'm asking, or you can pull from questions from exams that you've had in the past, either from high school or your college courses, or even things that you might see like on your content exam and that kind of thing. You can pull from old STAR questions, from release STAR exams as well. Again, you're going to have to modify those to fit the kind of question I'm asking you to write. Remember that you can utilize stations if you want to set up different stations around your classroom, the gym, the art room, the theater, that kind of thing. You can use equipment. You can use different tools that your students would have to know about, like paintbrushes, that kind of thing. And then you can use other locations around the school. Maybe you're doing a geometry lesson and you want them to go calculate some things around the school. You can do that on this assessment as well, because that is the application of the content knowledge that you want them to know. For the second session this week, you're going to modify the assessment for an ELL, and I have a video linked in this week's folder's directions. That's not going to take you very long to do, maybe 30 minutes at the most. Writing the assessment is the brunt of the work this week. Okay. So let's take a look at this document that I asked you to download. If you scroll down past the definitions, you're going to see the different types of questions that I want you to write. And there's sample questions provided from a variety of content areas in this document, and it also gives you tips about what to do with those types of questions. So make sure you have this next to you, either printed off or open, as you are writing questions on your template. You'll see that I ask you to write at various levels of Bloom's taxonomy or depth of knowledge, whichever chart you're using. Like we have the knowledge level, the comprehension level, application level, and so on and so forth. Please don't get hung up on these. I'm not checking to see if your verbs 100% are in the application level and that kind of thing. The challenge is not to write all level 1 types of questions where they're just identifying. We want to get them up past identifying into applying, into creating, like that kind of thing. So don't get hung up on, oh, I don't have like a third or fourth application level question. That's okay. All right. I'm not going to penalize you for that. There's also going to be true false items on here. I go through poor examples and good examples. There's completion or fill in the blank. Again, pay attention to what's in the bullet because it gives you examples of what's a valid question. And then there's a matching exercise as well. So there's samples provided for you. That's in the assessment and evaluation document. And then the template that I asked you to download looks like this. You're just going to copy and paste TEKS from the lesson plans you've done already, add a couple of additional ones, and then you're going to type your question here and type your answers here. So it has incomplete sentence, question, negatively stated stem, knowledge level questions, comprehension level questions, application level questions. Remember, you can use stations for this too. Analysis level questions, true false items, completion fill in the blank, and a matching exercise. So it's going to have 21 questions total, and you can pull from resources all across the web. If you get stuck or are just like, I really don't know how to do this type of question, send me an email or shoot me a text and I'll help you. If you if you 100% need help, I can schedule an appointment to conference with you over this. All right. Be sure to watch the next video in this week's folder where I show you how to modify the assessment because you're going to have to submit both. All right. Have a healthy week. I'll see you next video. You're nuts.